Hey there, it's Tracy Matthews here, Chief Visionary Officer over at Flourish and Thrive Academy, and welcome to our YouTube channel. Today I have a really great interview on how to connect with influencers on social media and build an influential jewelry brand that people want to buy. I did a really amazing interview with Brittany Hennessy of the book Influencer, How to Build a Brand in the Age of Social Media, and it's awesome. So definitely tune in, but if you haven't done so yet, make sure that you subscribe to our channel. And if you like this episode, make sure that you like it. If you have any questions, please comment below and share this with your friends. All right, let's dive in. Here's this awesome episode. Let's do it. Hey everyone, it's Tracy here. I'm so excited to be here with Brittany Hennessy. Brittany, welcome to the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Today we're going to be talking about building your brand in the age of social media, which is, you know, it's here to stay, don't you think?
Yeah.
It's really here to stay. So we're going to dive in and talk a little bit about some really awesome things. And I want to just give Brittany some props because she just recently launched a book called Influencer, Building Your Brand in the Age of Social Media. Building your personal brand? Am I getting
Personal brand.
Personal brand in the age of social media. And today she just, you were listed as one of Amazon's top selling books. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we spent a lot of time, book sales are really important to your publisher. And it's great because you can see, how many people are reading your book. And I've been getting tagged a bunch. Every time someone buys the book, they put me in like an Instagram story, and there are all these flat lays now with my book, which is pretty cool. And it's doing really, really well. And it's exciting because people don't really read physical books. We were talking, lots of people read audiobooks and people just read on the internet. So to be selling, I think we're well past the 2,000, I think 3,000 mark, and it's only been out for 3 weeks. And the volume of sales is in paperback and hardcover, which is very cool for a nonfiction book. So super excited. Yeah.
That's amazing. Congratulations on that, which is awesome. So I want to dive right in. Before we do, if you are someone or you know someone or you have friends and you're interested in, sharing this video because they're trying to get, really build out an influencer strategy, get more attention by influencers, become an influencer themselves. Before I dive in, I just want to introduce Brittany a little bit. She is the Director of Influencer Strategy at Hearst Publications. Hearst magazines and digital media, right?
Right.
On both? Okay, awesome. So, and she works, with the talent and builds the influencer strategy over there, which is awesome. She also is the author of the book Influencer, Building Your Brand in the Age of Social Media. And she's become, she started her career out as an influencer. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Brittany, to share with us a little bit more about your experience so we can dive into some questions about influencer strategy.
Sure. So the road to my current career has been very interesting, mostly because, I went to school for journalism. I went to Rutgers University. This was not a career that I could have possibly planned because social media did not exist when I started college. I started college in 2003. Facebook didn't even come out until 2004. And, we didn't have any of the other things. We have Instagram, YouTube, all of those. And so really had a lot of, my background is in print journalism, and I really wanted to work in magazines as a feature writer. And when I graduated, that was right at the boom of digital. So it was impossible to get a job doing feature writing and also doing digital because I had no digital experience. And so I ended up interning a lot in public relations, which I always think is great because you get to experience a lot of different fields, meet a lot of people. And my first job was actually at Abrams Artist Agency, where I was a casting assistant in the on-camera commercials department. And so I even to this day, if I watch television commercials, I can tell you who the people are. And so I worked there for a while, and then I started a blog while I was there to keep my writing fresh. And I was still getting invited to a lot of events because of my background in PR, which was really great. And I was offered to go to Germany with Nivea as the North American ambassador. and pretty much like hang out on a cruise ship and like watch Rihanna and like hang out with Rihanna and tweet about it.
That story is so cool. You just got to be paid to hang out on a cruise ship with Rihanna.
It was pretty crazy because, you know, that same trip now, if you tried to book it, you'd also have to pay the influencer like $25,000.
Oh, really?
So, yeah,
oh, my gosh.
Something super cool like that. So it really is interesting seeing like how business used to be done and now how there's just so much more money in the industry. And also because the content is different. You know, I was tweeting, which is very different than staging a full-on photo shoot with pages, which is what influencers do now. And so,
can I stop you there? What were some of the tweets that you had? What were some of the tweets that you had? Riri's wearing blah blah.
I mean, you know, she did like a whole concert, and I was literally this close, like she's singing in my face, and so most of it is, oh my God, like Rihanna is 2 inches from me. So that's so much. You know, that's really what you're doing during that whole thing. And she's like a great performer. So like to be like, you're on like a cruise ship is big, but in comparison to like a Madison Square Garden concert, like you're in like a very private venue. And like we were right in the front. And so it was lots of fun. It still might be the coolest thing I've gotten to do in this space, aside from write a book, which is also very cool. So, but celeb-wise, I think that was
fun.
That's the crowning celeb moment. And so once I did that, I realized that like influencer marketing is like taking off, social media is taking off. This is like 2011 now. So I did a lot of consulting with, you know, brands that I had worked with, family brands, just helping everybody, you know, increase their social media presence. And then I worked at Lucille Roberts for a while as their social media manager, and activated our members as influencers and got them to spread the word about joining the gym and the benefits. So really starting to tap more into like advocate marketing, influencer marketing. And then one of my friends that I knew from my blogging days who did a lot of PR, she went to Horizon Media to start the influencer team and asked me to come with her. And that was my first full-on influencer job where I did CPGs and entertainment and wine and spirits. And that was really fun, learning everything from responding to RFPs and putting together plans and casting, and analytics became a big deal for influencers during that window. And I really enjoyed the casting piece. And so when the job at Hearst came up, I jumped at that. And I actually got that job through a friend that I met on the Nivea trip in Germany, which
was so cool.
Crazy because I think a lot of my career really is full of full circle moments. And so at Hearst, I cast the talent for everything from 17 and Cosmo to the luxury brands, Harper's Bazaar and Elle, Town and Country, and even Good Housekeeping and Road and Track and Dr. Oz and, you know, all of the titles in between. And so really having to have a large focus for influencer marketing because I'm covering, you know, both sexes, all ages, all verticals, and just all different types of styles. And so I feel like I know way too much about different verticals. And it's great.
That's good.
Apply, you know, knowledge that some things are crossover. So I can apply something that I learned in beauty to fashion, food to decor, and it helps every program be a better program.
That is awesome. Awesome. So I just want to, let's talk about influencer strategy. Who here on this Facebook Live is currently doing or connecting with influencers or partnering with influencers either on Instagram or in some other way, whether they be like more niche influencers or like big names like Brittany's talking about here. Who's already doing that and who wants to do it? So if you're already doing it, give me a thumbs up or I'm doing it. And if you want to do it and you're not quite doing it yet, give me like I can't wait to try or something like that in the comments below. So why is influencer strategy, why do you think it's so important, even more so? I think sometimes it's even more important than press these days. Why do you think it's so important?
Sure. You know, I think a good media strategy has a mix of everything that you need to be successful, but influencer marketing is particularly successful because it's so targeted. The content created is personal. It's created to resonate with a very specific audience. And increasingly, you can see it tie back to sales. And so I think, lots of times people want to create, content from their brand perspective, and, it's particularly in jewelry, and it's like, it's very perfect, it's very pristine, it's like, this is how it needs to look, and it needs to be on this white background. And those things are great for like product purposes, but in terms of like selling it to an audience and like letting them understand like what this is, how do I wear it, what does it go with, those things are always better on a person. And that's really what you get when you hire an influencer who's going to create content for you on Instagram. She's wearing the jewelry, she's wearing two bracelets as a necklace, and you never even thought to like do that, and she's doing it, and everyone's like, oh my God, is that 2 bracelets or 1 necklace or what's that?
That's not a bad idea. You can make a little choker out of it too. Like,
yeah, you can, and I think people, for the most part, people are too close to their products, which is great when you're the designer, but you miss lots of opportunities to show people how to wear something. You might think these earrings have to go with, a black tie dress, and the influencer's wearing it with jeans and a t-shirt, and it looks amazing, and now everybody wants them, and she's like, this is how I like, make my outfit high-low with a red lip and all these things. And these are things that now her audience sees, and they're like, oh, I would have never bought those earrings because I don't wear black tie clothing, but the way you're wearing it, I would totally buy those. And now you have like a new audience. So I think influencers are putting their own spin on things. The more you work with them and really find people who match your style, you can really open up yourself to an entirely different audience.
That is brilliant. I mean, I loved even what you said. Like, did someone do that? Put 2 bracelets together as a necklace?
People do all sorts of things. They're wearing, skirts as shirts. Like influencers, they're just doing what they want to do, and they're like,
whatever.
This is like my style. Like, let's try it this way. And the reason why they're influential is because they have this keen sense of style that the people who are following them really appreciate.
And a unique perspective on, fashion and clothing and styling and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. So when, from a brand perspective, like how do you sit there and like sort through who would be like the best influencer to kind of partner with?
Sure. So I think you have to figure out a few things. One, you have to make sure that they match with you. So if you're, super, super high end, it's probably not in your best interest to match with an influencer who her whole MO is affordable accessories.
Yeah.
If your accessory is not affordable, it's not going to resonate with her audience. So I think, people just pick people that they like, but you have to make sure that there is a match because it has to be mutually beneficial. You want to make sure like her personal brand is on target with the brand you're creating as a jewelry company. You also want to make sure her audience can afford your product. And so an influencer might be very luxe, but that doesn't mean her audience has any money. And
yeah, right.
Definitely have to, lots of influencers, their feeds are very aspirational. So they have a lot of 16 to 22-year-old girls who follow them, and it's very like Sex in the City, like, oh, look at this lifestyle, it's so beautiful. They're not actually going to buy your product because they don't have any disposable income. And so, if you have something at a lower price point, then that can work for you. If you have something that it's pretty much have to be 30 plus with like a really good job to afford this product, you want to make sure the influencer's audience is also in that age range, because then you'll actually see some conversion. And then just making sure you like their style, because if you send an influencer a piece and say, hey, make some content with this, you can't then go and change everything about what she sends back. Like, oh, I don't like your outfit. I don't like your makeup. I don't like this background. I don't like the caption. It's like, but this is what my brand is, and you saw all of this before you picked me. And so I think, when brands let influencers create content with their products, they have to remember that you're not hiring an ad agency that you can direct. You're hiring a person who you are trusting with your brand to make content that will work for her audience. And so what is, perfection to you might not resonate at all with the people who follow her. And that's really what you want, because that's what you're paying for.
Okay, awesome. That's great. So I have a follow-up question to that. Like, how do you find out like what their audience is? Do they have these things like sort of curated? Do they know or?
Yeah, so it's been really great for brands, I think, in the last 2 years because Instagram has become very open with their analytics. And
Yeah.
so most influencers, the good influencers, if they send you a media kit, will have a breakdown of their demographic. And it will tell you how many of them are male, how many are female. You know, if they have household income information, they'll give that to you, how old they are, where they live. You know, if they have ethnicity breakdown at this point. You can pretty much find out anything you need to know. And so if you're a brand and you need that information, that's information you can ask an influencer and they can give it to you.
So, you know, it's a lot of brands are also becoming influencers. It's almost like this interplay between the two, right?
Sure.
So it's like, let's say, you know, a jewelry designer, a jewelry brand, independent brand is trying to become like, create some sort of influence on their Instagram or other things and really create this curated collection. What are some of the things that they could do to partner with other brands, not only to cross promote, but to have like sort of a win-win relationship with them?
Sure. I think the thing people need to be the most comfortable with, and this is the question I get asked the most, is, do I have to be in my own content? And the answer to that is yes, because if you don't, your Instagram feed really just ends up being a digital catalog of your products, which is fine if that's what you're going for. But if you want to have that personal connection, and now, you know, every CEO of a company is extremely public. They all have Instagrams. Like, you know, the guys who own Warby Parker, you see them taking walks with their dogs and like pushing their kids on the playground. Like, people feel like they know the people who own the products that they're buying. And so if you want to be an influencer or even just have like that second level connection with your consumers, you have to put yourself out there. And it doesn't mean you need to be the most photogenic person. You know, my book, Heidi, has a great quote that's like, everybody is photogenic if they're well-groomed and have a good filter. And so
everyone's photogenic if they're well-groomed and have a good filter.
Yeah, I mean, between those two, you're definitely going to have at least one photo that's a win. And so, you know, I think you really have to, you know, what better person to model something than the person who designed it? What better person to tell that story on Instagram than the person who knows why this piece was created? And so, you know, really putting yourself in front of the camera and letting people through a video see you actually create jewelry or see you sketch it or see you, you know, when you're out at a museum looking at, you know, paintings for inspiration. These are all things that audience members want to see what's happening behind their favorite brands. So the more insight you can give them, the closer they feel to you and the more likely they are to purchase something from you, because now they're not just buying a piece, they're buying a piece from a person. And I think, especially in 2018, people buy things from people, not brands.
Can you repeat that? Because this is something I feel like it's a mantra over here at Flourish and Thrive.
Oh yeah, that people buy products from people, not brands. So
yes, let's put that in the comments below, because people buy things from people, not brands. And that's I think the thing, you know, in a lot of ways, this is a slight segue, but people forget that buyers for stores are human beings, and that, you know, the people that you're selling to, like on the internet or like online, it's like a lot of us are sitting behind computer screens all day, but on the other side, there's another human, and it's not this, you know, platform. And so you need to humanize your brand and make it, you know, relatable so that people can connect with what you're doing. And I love it because this is like a lot of what we teach in our, one of our coaching programs called SOS is all about this, like, connecting with designers or connecting with your audience, being able to convert those people, and then being able to re-engage the people who actually buy from you for more sales. And this is how you grow a business. And it starts with creating like brand awareness about who the people are behind your brand, but also connecting with other brands, the people behind other brands. Wouldn't you say? Awesome. Awesome. So let's see. From an influencer's perspective, like what are some of the, I just want to kind of just like riff here and play around. What are some of the like funnest things that you've, and I love using the word funnest, even though it's not really a word, things you've seen people doing in partnerships with influencers?
So I think one of the coolest things I've ever seen is there's an influencer who's featured in the book, and her name is Olya Hill. She runs Living Notes, and she used to be a professional ballerina. And she has 7 kids. 7. I have 1. I'm pregnant with my second. I cannot imagine 7 children. Like, you and your husband are completely outnumbered. But, you know, she chronicles her life and their family life, and she partnered with, I don't remember the name, but she partnered with a pajama brand. And it's very easy to do something basic like, here are my kids wearing pajamas, and, you know, here are them blowing bubbles wearing pajamas and playing with balloons wearing pajamas, and just, you know, really basic things. But they took it a step further. They actually made a story about this fox and this owl and this turtle, and it's like all her kids are different animals. And they shot a full-on children's book and wrote
on Instagram.
Yeah, you can see, like, they had stills from it on Instagram, but they made an actual book, like a book that you could download.
Oh my God.
On a Kindle, on an iPad, on an Android device, and it's all the children wearing the pajamas, but with like little accessories to make them into animals. And it was a book that parents were reading to their children because it was a really good children's book. Except it's extremely branded because everything they're wearing is from this particular pajama brand. And they had been struggling to, you know, they were selling, but they had been struggling to have huge bumps in sales. And they sold out their entire collection within like 72 hours of her book coming out, which is crazy because people don't just want to see, like, you know, pajamas on a white background on a website that doesn't tell you anything. There's really nothing there. And so they made a story and everything came to life. And like, now these are the fox pajamas, and these are the turtle pajamas, and these are the owl pajamas. And they really made something special. And I think that really stands out as the most creative way I've ever seen, you know, influencers integrate a brand into content. And that's really why they're content creators and they're storytellers. You know, there are plenty of influencers who just like hold up something and take a picture with it. You're looking at like the bottom of the barrel with influencers because you really do have a scale, and some of the people are brilliant at what they do. And that's like a great example. And so I think they have a second book coming out when the new line launches because people really enjoyed the first one, and the brand said they would have never had an idea to do something like that because that's just not what they do. They make pajamas.
That's brilliant, by the way. So smart. So if I'm getting this clear, I might have missed one part of the story. The brand connected with this influencer, but the influencer created the book, and then the brand sold out of the pajamas.
Yeah. Okay.
So smart. So one of our designers is doing something like this. She has a really cool edgy jewelry that is like she feels like her audience is kind of like sci-fi readers. And so she's writing like a short little novella all about like basically like this sci-fi world where people are wearing her jewelry. I think it's such a good idea, isn't that?
Yeah, because it really, you know, when you look at lots of brands, if you watch a movie or a television show or a music video and there's product placement, there was some piece of content being created that a brand just like slid their product into.
Yep.
And you know, you don't really have control over that. If you want to put a soda in a movie or sunglasses in a movie, the movie's already written. The stars are already wearing sunglasses. You're just going to be the sunglasses. But when you partner with an influencer, you have a say in what that story looks like. What are they focusing on? What pieces are they focusing on? And so, you know, the really good influencers, it's a collaborative process. And then it becomes more than just this product. You're now a product plus a media company, which I think everyone is trying to do in some way, shape, or form, because you have to tell stories. Everyone is digesting so much content on a daily basis. There has to be something there that's not just, here's a picture of something, because that's you and everybody else. If you want to be different, you have to have an actual story. And in this case, like a physical, like literal story.
That's amazing. Okay. I love this. This has been great. Are you guys getting some really great ideas on things that you can do and like feel inspired, not only about like who you can be connecting with, but like some of the kinds of strategies that you can do, because I'd love to know. So give me like a heck yes in the comments below. Kathy's saying brilliant ideas. Marisha's saying, I need that book. All right, so, and we're shouting out Jocelyn, who's also writing, who is the one who's actually like writing the book. And a couple of the designers are like, they want the children's book too.
See, everybody wants this book. It's great. It's so cool. There's so many, when you really start to turn on that part of your brain and say like, what would I see somebody else do that is cool? You have so many possibilities, and then the trick just becomes integrating your product back in, but there's no reason why you have to do the standard product on white background. There's too many ways to tell a story at this point. And so, they could do a music video and that's like, a timeline of people, somebody's story from like how they were homeless and they aren't homeless. And then part of it is they're making this jewelry and it's like, we make this jewelry. Like there's so many things you can do.
So I'm going to ask Brittany to share a little bit more about the book right now. But if you want to learn how you can get a copy and also stay connected to Brittany, type the word influence in the comments below. And wait, let me just make sure I'm getting this right. Is it influencer? Or influencer? I have to check with Abby because she's the one who set this up. Oh my gosh. Hold on, guys. Influence. Type the word influence in the comments below and we will send you a message with a link to actually buy the book. So Brittany, tell us a little bit about the book and where people can find it and everything. And you have a special book too.
Oh yeah, so there's special version. So you can get the standard version in paperback and ebook and audiobook. I read the audiobook. It was very fun. So if that's your thing, definitely pick it up. And you can get it pretty much everywhere. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart, all over the place. If you want the bonus, there's an exclusive version. It's from Hudson News. You can get it at an airport, at a train station, and it has a whole chapter just for brands in it. It has the 10 commandments of influencer marketing, which I think you can also get with the audiobook. So that's that, but it's really broken out. The book is broken out into 4 parts. First part is building your community. Second part is packaging your brand. Third is monetizing your influence. And the fourth is planning your future. So no matter where you are on your influencer journey, you can either get really basic one-on-one information or really get into the nitty-gritty of contracts and fees and even if you're not trying to become an influencer, it will help you understand how influencers think, which is priceless when dealing with them. And so, yeah, available everywhere you can get a book. And on Instagram, I'm Mrs. Brittany Hennessy, and I think I have a very fun Instagram.
You have an amazing Instagram.
Lots of extra tips and snippets from the book.
I just did an Instagram story this morning promoting this because Brittany's so brilliant, like why not? So you can also find her by clicking on that story and you'll see her @handle. So Brittany, thank you so much for being here today.
Of course.
Do you have like any final words before we sign off?
Yeah, final words are, this is a very fun time for people who are creating products, very fun time for people who are creating content. And really, the more information you have, the better your experience will be. So that's why I wrote this book. I hope everybody buys it and finds it as valuable as the people who have read it so far.
Yeah, type the words influence in the comments below. We'll send you a link on where you can grab the book. And you can get the special version with the 10 commandments in the back. And that's the Hudson Booksellers has the hardcover version, and it's also in the audiobook?
Yes.
And in the audiobook. Awesome. Brittany, thanks again for being here. It was awesome to have you.
Thanks so much for having me. It was so much fun.
So fun. Thanks so much for watching today's episode. It was awesome, wasn't it? If you haven't done so yet, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure that you go find Brittany at Mrs. Brittany Hennessy on Instagram and you buy the book Influencer on everywhere where books are sold. You can even find it on Amazon, but you can get that 10 Commandments piece, which is awesome. All right, this is Tracy Matthews signing off.